Game day energy starts before the first snap with Chumba Casino. Whether you're killing time before kickoff or celebrating a big touchdown, Chumba Casino brings the thrill of the game right to your browser. Spin the reels, play blackjack, instant scratch-style cards, and more. It's like having a full playbook of fun at your fingertips. Sign up in seconds and score a free welcome bonus. Plus, daily login bonuses each time you return. And here's the extra point. You don't need to make a purchase to get in on the action. So whether you're going for a Hail Mary or just looking for a solid drive of entertainment, Chumba Casino gives you a chance to score some serious prizes without leaving your home turf. It's your move. Start your streak at ChumbaCasino.com today. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Deciding where to grow or move your business can be full of unexpected delays. Or you could just go to Ohio. With billions invested in shovel-ready sites, a dedicated team whose only job is to tackle red tape, and 0% corporate income tax, Ohio makes it easy for your business to scale faster. In fact, Ohio ranked number 2 in the U.S. for lowest cost of doing business multiple years in a row. Your move. Learn more at jobsohio.com.
Looking for these better days.
It is Friday, January 2nd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The college football playoff semifinals are set. We'll take a look at the lines and recap what we saw over the New Year's holiday in the quarterfinals on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Mackenzie Rivers will join me for a live stream recording a little bit later on today for a Football Friday podcast episode. So we're going to talk NFL Week 18, give you the latest injury updates, talk about some of the contract incentives. We will send out a sheet this weekend, the newsletter, to all of our Better Day subscribers to highlight some of the contract incentives for Week 18 and what's actually actionable. Because that's the big thing. A lot of content providers out there are just going to tell you about the contract incentives and leave it up to you to make a decision on a player prop or not. Well, a lot of the times the sports books are taxing you on these props, and a lot of the times you can't even bet into some of the things that these incentives are talking about. I made the joke last week or a couple of days ago with Mackenzie Rivers, like Sam Darnold needing 3 touchdown passes to reach a certain milestone or get a certain contract bonus. The Seattle Seahawks don't care about that. They're playing for the 1 seed against the 49ers. That's what they care about, is winning the football game. Do you think when it comes down to a goal line play, they're going to decide to throw to get Sam Darnold an extra $500,000, or they're going to call the best play in order for them to score against San Francisco? So anybody telling you to go out there and bet Sam Darnold to go over his touchdown passes because he can make $500,000, I mean, that's just a dumb statement to make. So we're going to send out a contract incentive sheet a little bit later on, either later today or tomorrow on Saturday, just in time, though, plenty of time for you guys to get ready for the games coming up in the NFL tomorrow on Saturday. But the focus of this episode is going to be college football and the NHL, because later on tonight, we have the Winter Classic being played between the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers. Kevin Rogers, the man responsible for helping us build the NHL First Period database and the NBA First Quarter, First Half database up on betterday.com, will join me in a couple of minutes. Kevin also does pre- and post-game for the Florida Panthers radio network. So we'll talk to him about what we can expect tonight between the Rangers and the Panthers playing the Winter Classic there in Lone Depot Park, home of the Miami Marlins. But let's recap what we saw over the New Year's holiday in college football. The action got started on Friday night, a game where we were on the first half under in the Miami game against Ohio State. Also took the points with Miami. And the conversation was, as you listen to the preview pod with myself and AJ Hoffman, was about the Miami defense being able to get after the quarterback and Julian Sayin, and how big of an impact was it going to be with Ryan Day calling the plays now as opposed to Brian Hartline. And when the pressure was on, how would Julian Sayin handle it? Well, it was a one-sided affair. They did not handle it well. Julian Sayin did not handle the pressure well. Carson Beck played an okay game. They ran the ball effectively, but this game was about the Miami defense. And they did come up with that big defensive score as well. So the interception on the incredible read by Keontae Scott on that screen pass, 72-yard pick six. So Miami beats Ohio State 24-14. Ohio State did not score a point in the first half. That is going to be a theme that we're going to discuss here. As for the games that we saw yesterday on New Year's Day, well, kind of a similar theme as team with the bye not scoring in the first half. Texas Tech was shut out by Oregon in the first half. 6-0, the Ducks led at halftime. And when it was all said and done, Oregon defeated Texas Tech 23-0 as the Red Raiders looked like, and I tweeted this out several times, they didn't just look like a team that was, that was playing their first game in however many weeks. They looked like an offense that didn't play the entire season. This was one of the most embarrassing performances that we saw from an offense, from a play calling perspective, from a quarterback, as Baron Morton had one of the worst games that you're going to see. He had a 17.8 QBR. 18 of 32 passing, 137 yards, 2 interceptions. He was sacked for 32 yards of loss. What an embarrassing performance by Texas Tech. And I also tweeted out last night, I didn't want to take anything away from Oregon. That was a dominating performance by the Ducks. Literally, a dominating performance. So I don't want to take anything away from Oregon. But that was one of the most disgusting and embarrassing offensive displays. And I tweeted out a couple of examples, right? Like they're running wide run sweeps, wildcat read option plays on 4th and 1s. They're constantly running routes that were short of the first down marker. Like, it was just a baffling game to watch, and it almost looked like they had never practiced or played or called any plays ever before. It was just so confusing watching Texas Tech. But give it up to Oregon. They played well. They didn't have to do anything offensively because Texas Tech was just completely inept on offense. So big win there for the Oregon Ducks, 23-0. Indiana proved that they are the best team in the country. A 38-3 rout over Alabama as they were held scoreless in the first quarter, but they erupted for 17 points in the second quarter and go on to win 38-3. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, 14 of 16, 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. And we talked about how the rain in Pasadena was going to have an impact on Alabama, and their inability to run the football already was going to hurt them. They could not run the ball at all here. 17 rushing attempts as a team for 23 total yards. Just a dominant effort from Indiana on defense, on offense as well. Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback, left the game in the third quarter. Backup Austin Mack came in. I mean, it was already 17-0 at this point, and it was getting out of hand. I mean, he had only passed for 67 yards by the time he was pulled from the game, and he was also the leading rusher for Alabama with 17 yards. And so when Mack came in the game, it was already 24-0. So the game was just over. And what a performance by Indiana, just continuing their incredible, incredible season. And then last night, the best game of the quarterfinals was the battle between Georgia and Ole Miss, where in the first half, it looked like it was going to be Georgia's football game. Georgia scoring 21 points in the second quarter to take a 21-12 lead into the locker room. And then Ole Miss just battled in the fourth quarter. Trinidad Chambliss with a historic game, 362 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. He converted one of the crazier fourth down conversions you're ever going to see on a 4th and 7 where he's eluding pressure and running back, and then throwing it. And then just an unbelievable game from Trinidad. Just an unbelievable game from Trinidad Chambliss. Meanwhile, Kirby Smart had a terrible game for Georgia. Terrible game. I don't know some of the decisions that he made. That fourth down call. You have to understand where we were at the game at this point. This was a 3-point game, 27-24. 3-point game. And Kirby Smart on a fourth down at their own 33-yard line. You could punt the football. There's still 9 and change left in the fourth quarter. You punt the football away, you're down 3, you play defense. He puts the punt unit on the field and then runs the punt unit off the field, runs his offense back on the field, and then the ball snapped, and it looked like half the team didn't expect the ball to be snapped. Like maybe half the players were thinking that this was going to be like they were drawing them off sides, and maybe that was the initial plan. But Gunnar Stockton gets sacked. 2 plays after that, the Ole Miss utilized the short field to score a touchdown. They go up 34-24, and then this was amazing. So it's 34-24. Georgia gets the football back in less than 2 minutes. 6 plays, 75 yards, right down the field to score a touchdown to make it 34-31. And how did they do it? It was Gunnar Stockton throwing it down the field, just ripping apart the secondary for Ole Miss. So then, okay, they get the football back. Georgia does after they hold Ole Miss to a 3-and-out. And on the ensuing drive, where you can drive down the field and go ahead and take the lead, or at the very worst, get a game-tying field goal, they are running the football. They're running, like, bad running plays. It's short screen passes. Everything that worked on their previous drive, letting Gunnar Stockton drop back and just fire it down the field, attacking style of offense that worked for them to go 6 plays and 75 yards in a minute 59 and score a touchdown, they completely abandoned. And they got lucky to get themselves down into field goal range. Not only did they get themselves down at the field goal range, but they got down to the 8-yard line. 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. So Gunnar Stockton runs to the 3-yard line. At this point, there's a minute and 4 seconds left on the clock. They run the ball on 2nd and goal at the 3. A 3-yard loss to the 6-yard line. There is now 59 seconds left in the game. Gunnar Stockton drops back to pass and throws an incompletion, and then Georgia kicks a field goal with 56 seconds left. That is coaching malpractice. And I'll say it for a guy that I have a ton of respect for in Kirby Smart. You cannot throw the ball there. You absolutely cannot throw the football there. You have to run the ball and milk as much time off the clock as you can. You need to ensure that you don't give Ole Miss a full minute to get themselves into field goal range to go for the win. You absolutely cannot do that. You have to run the football. And a lot of people on Twitter last night were saying, well, it's on Gunnar Stockton, that he should take the sack there, that he shouldn't throw the ball. He has to take the sack there. And okay, if you want to tell me that, sure. But I just think you run the football. You ran it on 1st down. You ran it on 2nd down. Run it again on 3rd down. Milk the clock down and kick the field goal. But instead, they stopped the clock, kicked the field goal with about 56 seconds left, and then Ole Miss, with an incredible pass from Trinidad Chambliss, great pass for a 40-yard completion on a 3rd and 5 at their own 30-yard line to get the ball down to the Georgia 30-yard line. I mean, that was the game, but they had plenty of time to do it. They milked the clock down. They kick a field goal with 6 seconds left, and then the end of the game was just stupid and ridiculous. Like, there's 6 seconds left, by the way, and you still have like a timeout. You're Georgia. Just take the touchback, get the ball on the 20-yard line, 25-yard line, and just throw a pass, call a timeout, and take your chances. To run it out of the end zone there and then try and throw a lateral across the field, and then the ball bounces out of bounds. And then there was the whole drama where there was still a second on the clock, and they had to put the stage off the field and then kick it, and then kick the onside kick, which was then recovered by Georgia. But then because it was recovered by Georgia with nobody touching it, no time went off the clock. So then Georgia had another play, just the stupidest ending you're ever going to find. But when it was all said and done, congratulations to Pete Golding. Congratulations to Ole Miss. They get the victory and move on to the semifinals, where they will take on the Miami Hurricanes. So think about this. Either Miami or Ole Miss is playing for a national championship. And who would have thought that when the season started? And who would have thought that even when the bracket was unveiled? Miami, a 2.5-point favorite up on FanDuel over Ole Miss in the semifinal coming up on Thursday. And then coming up, I guess, so that's next Thursday, obviously, which is the 8th. And then on the 9th is going to be Friday, is Oregon and Indiana. And Indiana is a 3.5-point favorite in that game. So that is your semifinal matchup is set right now that will take place on the 8th and the 9th. And that will be the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. So the Fiesta Bowl is Miami and Ole Miss. That's in Arizona. That's on Thursday the 8th. And then Friday the 9th is the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Oregon and Indiana, your national championship game on the 19th. And currently up on FanDuel, Indiana, plus 128 favorite to win the national championship. Oregon, your second favorite, plus 315. Miami, plus 320. And Ole Miss, plus 580. So just an incredible run for these programs. I think Indiana and Oregon being there, not much of a surprise. But for Miami and Ole Miss to be there, I mean, we're talking about the 10 seed and the 6 seed. We have number 1, Indiana, then the 5 seed Oregon, the 6 seed Ole Miss, and the 10th seeded Miami Hurricanes here remaining in the college football playoff national semifinals. We are going to do a full NFL pod coming up later on this afternoon. Myself and Mackenzie Rivers going to do a live stream recording for our Better Day premium members. So we're going to record that, and then I'll post the podcast and send out the newsletter as well, previewing every game for week 18 of the NFL. And then coming up later on today or early tomorrow, I will send out the incentive list with the actionable props that you can play for week number 18. But tonight is a special night in the NHL. It is the Winter Classic being played in Miami inside the ballpark where the Marlins call home. And it'll be the New York Rangers taking on the Florida Panthers. And let's talk with our man, Kevin Rogers, previewing that game tonight, as well as the futures market in the NHL.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Deciding where to grow or move your business can be full of unexpected delays. Or you could just go to Ohio. With billions invested in shovel-ready sites, a dedicated team whose only job is to tackle red tape, and 0% corporate income tax, Ohio makes it easy for your business to scale faster. In fact, Ohio ranked number 2 in the U.S. for lowest cost of doing business multiple years in a row. Your move. Learn more at jobsohio.com.
Every Friday from 6 to 7:30, it's NBA Happy Hour on FanDuel, your pregame for the weekend. We're talking limited time specials you won't want to miss. Boosts, bonuses, surprises, all dropping in the app during Happy Hour. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app to see the week's special. Then, make your move before the shot clock expires at 7:30 Eastern. It's the perfect way to start your weekend. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Only on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Must be 21 and older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, and Wyoming. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccp.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
Well, with the new year upon us, it is a tradition in the NHL, no longer played on New Year's Day, as to not interfere with college football, but the Winter Classic will take place later on tonight, actually. Not a day game, a night game between the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers being played in Miami, where the Marlins play baseball. So hockey in a baseball stadium, indoors, outdoors. Joining us right now is the man responsible for our databases up on betterday.com with the NHL first periods and the NBA first quarter, first halves. He is Kevin Rogers, also pre and post for the Florida Panthers radio network. Kevin, thanks so much for doing this, man. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for joining us.
You too, Scott. Good to have myself on with you. And you talked about with the databases, with the NBA and the NHL, and getting a lot of information, just trying to, every day sort it out and seeing what's relevant, what's not, and looking forward, to this game coming up with the Panthers and the Rangers.
And by the way, Kevin's on Twitter at Rogers Picks. No D in Rogers. It's ROGERS, Rogers Picks. How has how's the ice look to you? What's the atmosphere like in that stadium? What are the players saying? What are the coaches, other members of the media saying about what we can expect to see from an atmosphere-wise aspect here tonight in the Winter Classic?
I mean, I think it's a lot of excitement, obviously. Well, a couple things. When you win the Stanley Cup the last 2 years, you're just more attractive. Simple as that. And, you would never thought years ago that this would be any kind of, idea to have the Panthers in a Winter Classic, and you're going to see the Lightning in one next month against the Bruins at Raymond James Stadium. I don't know how that's going to pull that one off, but we'll see. But, as far as this one, understandably, it doesn't snow in South Florida. It doesn't get freezing. It's not like these other games you saw in Buffalo and Pittsburgh and Columbus and all these other places where it's going to be freezing and you don't have to worry about the weather. We're here, you're in an indoor baseball stadium. You got to keep the roof open and do all you can to keep it as cold as possible. It should be in the 50s or so on, coming up tonight. So, you hope it all holds up, and that's all you can really do. It's just, the risk going into it, but also with New York coming here, that's going to be big, with the Rangers. That you have, a rivalry there. These teams played in the Eastern Conference Final a few years ago. But I just think there's a lot of juice around this, just in South Florida, just seeing this. I think a lot of the fans want to, the ones that, because remember, the Panthers are a Broward County team. And they moved from Dade County to Broward County in 99 or 2000 after playing the Miami Arena when they went to the Stanley Cup Final in 96 against the Avalanche. They moved up to Broward County and playing in the arena that's had 20 different names. Now it's called Amerant Bank Arena. And now it's its own, Broward has its own team where Dade County has the Heat and they have the Dolphins, even though they're on the county line, and they have the Marlins. So now all the Miami people that want to see the Panthers can now see them, as well as the Broward people coming down as well. So long story short, it's just a lot of excitement. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I've been in the Stanley Cup Final each of the last 2 years, and that's been awesome, but I'm really looking forward to this. I just want to see what all of it looks like. And the other thing, Scott, too, is because it's a smaller venue, I don't think you're going to see, like you see on television, the ice is this big and people are a million miles away in the stands. It looks like it could be a little closer, so you have maybe a better vantage points there.
Yeah, you're right, because Lone Depot Park is on the smaller side of baseball stadiums. So it's not like some of the old Winter Classics or some of these other games where we do see the rink look really, really minuscule. And then you mentioned the fans a mile away. The plan is for the roof to be open tonight. So obviously that should be a cool atmosphere. I did see something about potentially artificial snow inside the building, that they were going to have some fun with the fans. From a game perspective, though, Kevin, we have right now up on FanDuel, the Panthers a minus 150 favorite with a total of 5.5. Now, normally Winter Classics, I'm like, oh, well, how's the sun going to reflect off the ice? And is it going to affect the goaltenders? The fact that this game is being played at night, we're not going to get those similar situations. We're not going to get the sun melting the ice during this game. So I would expect the ice conditions to actually be pretty good in this game tonight. Does that lend you towards more of an over feel for this game?
You can go back, Scott, and you look at all of these outdoor games and to see, okay, what's the angle? Is it going to be a higher scoring game, a higher scoring first period? And I believe last year when the Blues played the Blackhawks at Wrigley Field, that you did have, I think the Blues scored a couple goals early on in that game. So it's hard for me. It really is to try to handicap because it's all new for everyone out there. It's a new surface, a new a stadium that you've never played in before, and trying to get an idea. And obviously, both these goalies, assuming it's going to be Sergei Bobrovsky and Igor Shesterkin in net, that you're going to get the best goalies out there. And I mean, I would lean more towards an under, but again, I mean, who knows with this? And the Rangers have been better on the road this year, so playing outside of the Garden has actually helped them this season. But, even with the Panthers off of the overtime loss to Montreal on Tuesday, where you are up 2-0 with 5 minutes to go, you give up 2 late goals, and the Canadians win in overtime. How are you going to bounce back from that? It's been a week for the Panthers. The Tampa Bay game on Saturday, with all the fighting, and they have a history, obviously, then beating Washington on Monday. Quick turnaround for Montreal. They honor Brad Marchand before the game for his 1,000 points. He scores the first goal in the third period. Sam Reinhart scores, make it 2-0. You think you're cruising along, and then Montreal comes back and wins it. So you kind of wonder where your head's at. Colorado's on deck Sunday. Avalanche have the best record in the league. So, I mean, it's gonna be a really good game, and just once we get through that first period, I think it'll be interesting to see how everything unfolds, just with all the with the atmosphere and with all the elements there.
Sure, and we know the Rangers have had plenty of, I should say, they've had difficulties scoring goals at times this season. It's like an overwhelming percentage of periods that they go scoreless so far this season. So, but you're right, they have been better away from home. And overall, if we're looking at just outdoor games, the last 4 outdoor games, not necessarily Winter Classics, we've had Stadium Series games as well, but we're on a 4 straight over streak. So last year you had both Stadium Series games go over and the Winter Classic go over as well. So maybe something to keep an eye on. Although the Winter Classic last year, T-Mobile, Vegas, and Seattle there at T-Mobile Park was a 3-0 win by the Kraken. So that game did go under. Something to keep an eye on for tonight's game, which should be an incredible atmosphere there in Little Havana for the Panthers taking on the New York Rangers. Let's talk about the league as a whole here, Kevin. You mentioned Colorado's got the best record in the league. I mean, they have 2 goaltenders that it's crazy. I was looking at the Vezina odds this past week, and neither of them, Mackenzie Blackwood or Scott Wedgwood, is atop the odds. Meanwhile, these 2 have been the best goaltenders in the NHL. Do you think that they're getting knocked because it could be considered the team is the reason why there's such goal suppression in Colorado, and it's not because one goaltender or the other is playing that great?
Yeah, I mean, also, you don't have big names there in goal necessarily where, in past years, like Connor Hellebuck, he's like the guy you think of with the Jets, where with Colorado, the goalie's not the first guy you think of. You think of Nathan McKinnon and what he's done so far this year, leading the league in goals. And, Wedgwood, he's had a great year so far for Colorado. And what's interesting, too, is when you see some of the top names inside of the NHL for goalies and for the Vezina right now. It's funny how Brandon Bussey of Carolina is right ahead of both Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood. And Carolina, kind of has like this merry-go-round of goalies. They haven't been able to find like that number one, it feels like. It was Frederick Anderson, but he's had injury issues. So they've had to try to go through that. Wallstead from Minnesota, he's played very well also. And it's a tough one because I feel like no one's sticking out right now in this, and they're trying just to let things play out a little, I would say, with the Vezina Trophy. But for both those guys in Colorado, it can't just be all the offensive players and the goalies get no credit. Like, that's not fair when you have 2 regulation losses and you're cruising along. It can't just be, oh well, the goalies are just there. No, they're playing well too, so they deserve some of the credit. But look, I'll be honest with you, Scott, I'm not much of an awards person. As far as any sport goes, I just don't like the subjectivity of all of it. I mean, you see that in the NFL, with the Stafford and Drake May stuff and trying to figure it all out. I just don't like the subjectivity of it. But yes, you cannot take away from the fact that both of those goalies, the Wood brothers, that both of them have played very well and have been a key force into what Colorado's done in their success so far.
Avalanche are the favorite to win the Stanley Cup, currently up on FanDuel right now, plus 310. They are one of the 4 tickets that I have from the preseason. I bet 3 Western Conference teams and 1 Eastern Conference team in the summer, and it was Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas in the Western Conference, and the only Eastern Conference team I bet on was the New Jersey Devils. And they were without Jack Hughes for some time, but now he's back. And you look at the odds, Colorado, your favorite at plus 310. The Tampa Bay Lightning are your second favorite at plus 700. Vegas is plus 800. Carolina, 850. The Panthers, plus 900. And then Edmonton at 10-1. If there's a bet to be made right now, is it one of those top teams, or would you consider anybody outside of that 10-1 range?
I'm not going to bet on Edmonton. I don't know how much juice they have left, really,
I agree.
after the last 2 years getting as far as they have. And they made the trade with Pittsburgh in goal to try to, change things up a little bit. And Edmonton's gone off to slow starts, so I feel like they'll eventually get it together. Dallas at 17-1 is still interesting because they're right behind Colorado in the Central Division. If it wasn't for Colorado, Dallas would lead any division, I think, in hockey. But because they, Colorado has such a great season that Dallas is right behind them. And Dallas has fallen short in the Western Conference Final the last 3 years. They made the coaching change in the offseason. They got rid of Peter DeBoer. So you wonder, is that going to change anything or not? We know they can get a few rounds in the Western Conference. Just can you get over the hump? So Dallas can be worth a look. As far as other teams, it's hard seeing. I can't, like, the Kings are 30-1. They can't win at home, so I don't know why anybody would bet on them. But you mentioned New Jersey at 20-1. That they can hang around in that Metro Division. They really can. It's just about getting over the hump. I don't know if I trust New Jersey to win a few rounds in the East. That's why I don't love them. But what's so interesting too, we talked about these teams with, I don't want to say goalie question marks, but you don't have like that elite goalie. Same thing with Vegas. Vegas has these scorers, but not really that great goalie. They got Carter Hart. He's been playing all right for them. And, if he can be good enough for Vegas, maybe they can make a run back to the Stanley Cup final. My question with the Panthers, obviously, you don't know if you're getting Barkov back at all this season. What's Tkachuk going to be like when he comes back? They've kind of kept their head above water considering all the injuries they've had. But I don't know if the Panthers can make it again, just because you make it 4 straight years. The Stanley Cup final is unheard of in this time. I don't know if Tampa Bay, I really don't. Like, they've had injury issues. They have some age, that's not on their side. So, yeah, Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, like those do sound like, good choices coming out of the West, the East. I don't really trust Carolina. I don't. After seeing the Panthers stifle them in the Eastern Conference Final 2 of the last 3 years, I don't have enough faith in them. I really don't to go far, but I don't really know who I have faith in the East. If the Panthers had Barkov and Tkachuk healthy, I'd feel better about them. But right now, you have a lot of really good players. Marchand's been unbelievable this year, but you still No team in the NHL is without their top 2 players. Nobody except for the Panthers.
Yeah. It feels like anybody can win the East right now. Like it's just, and the West is just significantly better. Like you look at the standings in the East, everybody's jumbled in like the 40 somewhat point range, and then you have like all these really good teams in the West. It's just, my goodness, the Central Division is just done already. You already know the 3 teams that are going to be at the top of the Central Division. Speaking of that Central Division, can I sell you on the Minnesota Wild at 25-1? You know, bringing in Quinn Hughes was a huge move for them defensively. You talked earlier about their goaltending, which has been good. They have a 2-headed monster in net. Can Minnesota make some noise in the postseason?
You know, what's so interesting is Minnesota got off to kind of that, I don't want to say slow start, but, you know, a little sluggish out of the gate. They're still 24-10-6. That's a really good record, considering the fact, I just want to make sure that I have my numbers straight here, what Minnesota did to begin the season. They were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They lost 10 of their first 13 games. You thought, oh, this team's done, or this season's in the toilet. And they just came back, and they played very well. And again, you are behind, unfortunately, behind Colorado and behind Dallas in that Central Division. But you know what? We've seen in the last few years, Scott, that if you get some of these matchups in the West, you're not going to get Colorado-Dallas, obviously, like in the first round. But, you know, somehow how everything breaks, depending on who it could be, maybe Colorado draws a Vegas in the second round or something like that, depending on how the standings go, and they can get knocked out, you know? So you can't have that path if you're Minnesota potentially to make some noise in the Western Conference. They had that, you know, Kaprizov got that huge contract, and people question that, but obviously it's worked out. But I just think that some of these matchups in the West, that it's going to be these teams knocking off each other, and you think, oh, well, maybe there is a path somewhere. I mean, look at Edmonton the last 2 years. Like it's like last year they were totally forgotten, and they were down 2-0 to LA, and they were done. They were in the Stanley Cup final. So you never really know how this whole thing can work out in the Western Conference.
Yep, I mean, just look at Dallas, right? It's the losses that they've had in the postseason the past couple of years. Kevin, appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for doing this. Happy, healthy New Year. Enjoy the game tonight there at the ballpark, Lone Depot Park. Say that 10 times fast. But enjoy the game tonight. I'm sure it's going to be an incredible atmosphere between the Rangers and the Panthers for the Winter Classic. We can't thank you enough for all the work you do with the databases for us up on betterday.com. And here's to a big 2026, brother. So thanks so much for joining us.
All right, Scott, you got it. Thank you very much.
Awesome stuff there from Kevin Rogers. Again, programming alert, Mackenzie Rivers and I will be recording a Football Friday pod later on this afternoon, so you can look for that later on today. And then coming up tomorrow, we will make sure to get you the incentive prop list for Week 18 to get you ready for the games coming up that get kicked off tomorrow on Saturday. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Deciding where to grow or move your business can be full of unexpected delays. Or you could just go to Ohio. With billions invested in shovel-ready sites, a dedicated team whose only job is to tackle red tape, and 0% corporate income tax, Ohio makes it easy for your business to scale faster. In fact, Ohio ranked number 2 in the U.S. for lowest cost of doing business multiple years in a row. Your move. Learn more at jobsohio.com.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.